feel joy, I feel peace.
I feel goodness.
I feel goodness surrounding me.
I feel love.
I feel love in every breath I breathe.
I feel God.
I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. I know joy, I know peace. I know goodness surrounding me. I know love in every breath I breathe. I know God in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfection in what life brings. I know God's in everything. I know God's in everything. Namaste.
Sing with us.
Namaste. Namaste.
I see the best in
Look
you.
at the person next to you.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
I honor the highest in you.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
Alexa Ehrlich and Heather Hutton. Woo! Good morning, everybody. I'm Kimberly Hawkins, Senior Minister here. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley in partnership with Unity of Medford. I like to say we are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive faith community dedicated to teaching tools to transform personal lives and help make a world that works for all. So this morning we have these beautiful two musicians with us, Heather and Alexa. On the pulpit this morning will be practitioner Nancy Clay, who will be doing our invocation and reading. Having done a lovely meditation, I'm not sure she's back in the room yet, is our practitioner student, Morel Wyeth. Thank you so much to Morel. Our video team is back there this morning, Bill Miner, Corey Rennick, Tom Frederick on sound, and Ben Rummel and Vivian. Thank you so much. I feel really relaxed after that meditation and the opening music. So let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Please, if you have not already, turn your phones off or in airplane mode. And I'm going to turn it back over to our musicians to center us. As always, hold your applause, if you will, after this song, and we'll have the prayer from Nancy. Okay.
I'm going to hear these words in this chant. Loka samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. That basically means may all beings be happy, be free, be peaceful.
Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Let the love be felt in everything. Let the light shine in everything. Let it flow. Let it be known in every soul. Let the love be felt in everything. Let the light shine in everything. Let it
In the stillness of this moment, our hearts are beating, our breaths are breathing, our bodies are doing whatever we need them to do, especially bring us together here this morning. And we come here and we know that there is only one power, one presence, one mind, one divine perfect unfoldment of life on every level, in every inch of the universe. And so I just know that this morning there are special blessings being shared here. And I know that I have had people that I'm close to have some amazing experiences this week. And so I just would like to suggest that each of us see if we can spend the next moment thinking about something wonderful that happened in the life of somebody that we know. For we know, and our faith tells us, that in every moment, something wonderful is always happening. It's the gift of spirit. It's divine life. It's divine right action, divine right timing, divine right gathering. And so just knowing these things brings me great joy and explains to me so much about life that I appreciate and that I'm sharing with you in this moment. And just knowing the service is blessed, each life here is blessed, we're all on the same path together. And with great gratitude, we can say together, and so it is. So good to see everyone here this morning. I've seen a few of you as recently as yesterday. Well, I'm going to read from the Unity Daily Word. I'm going to read the reading for today. The word for today is blessed. All things work together for good in my life and in every life. We are blessed. If someone asks us how we're feeling, we may smile and simply respond, I am blessed. I may have bills to pay, maybe a few aches and pains, but I remain aware I am an expression of God. I know wherever I am, whatever I am doing, God can never be further away than my next thought, my next breath, the next beat of my heart, the next bird song that I hear through the open window. While I may not believe challenging events are blessings, I will likely feel blessed when I respond from an awareness of God's guiding, loving presence within me. Rather than reacting anxiously, I proceed calmly and with confidence, trusting divine order. Knowing I am blessed, I radiate faith that I pray helps others recognize the blessings in their lives and in each other's lives, as life connects us on this journey together. And so let's just say, and so it is.
So it is. This piece is by Michael Stillwater, and it's based on the Tonglen Buddhist breathing practice, where when we exhale, and in this case we can think of the exhale as the singing, we're consciously putting compassion, compassionate energy and good into the world and to others. So I invite you to join us on this.
This world is changed forever. There is a way my spirit can pray for the peace of everyone. With every breath I take, my heart is learning to make the will of love be done. So I breathe in the pain, breathe on out the love. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed forever.
One more breath in and out together.
Nice, thank you, Heather, Alexa. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed forever. Oh yeah, I like that. We're wrapping up this morning a three-part series called Living in the Key of G. So 2 weeks ago, I talked about gratitude. I think most of us understand how important that G word is in our spiritual growth and unfoldment. Last week, I talked about grace. Our founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, defined grace as the givingness of spirit to its creation. It's a free gift. It's not something we have to earn or work for. This morning, I've entitled my talk, The Anatomy of Generosity. Yeah, so generosity, I think the dictionary defines it as the quality of being kind and generous, and it has this quality of giving more than is expected or strictly necessary, right? Really big giving. I love it when science confirms what we kind of know intuitively or innately. So there have been many studies about the power of giving. And first of all, I want to say that brain scan technology recently has helped us understand something. I don't know if any of you have ever had a brain scan. I have, with Daniel Amen in the clinic in California. And it's amazing to look at what parts of the brain light up with what thoughts or what activities. And because of this new technology, I know you've all seen brain scans, right? Because of this new technology, scientists have discovered that being generous, being helpful and supportive and giving to other people is hardwired in the brain of humans. So literally, being generous is part of our human anatomy. And we've seen how naturally people give. We saw it after 9/11, after that tragedy. One of the biggest examples worldwide I've seen of the outpouring of generosity, support, help was in 2014. Do you remember the big tsunami in South Asia? Hundreds of thousands of people were killed. almost 1 million lost their homes. And not only did local people pitch in to house and feed and help people that were affected, there were people vacationing there from all over the world who gave up their holiday activities and did really helpful but very difficult things like counting bodies on the beach, helping to identify the dead. There was an outpouring of financial help from all over the world. Some countries had more than half their citizens. Maybe you gave something. I know I did. So it is part of our natural proclivity to be generous, to be helpful. Now, here's some studies that science has shown us. And we know this. I mean, we've all heard 'tis better, 'tis more blessed to give than receive. I don't quite believe that. I think both are necessary, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, right? We need both in order to continue that cycle of circulation. But it is blessed to be a giver. It is a blessing. And science has proved the many benefits of giving, of being generous. For example, they've discovered that people who are altruistic, who give without, thought to their own good, they give just for the sake of giving, altruistic people actually have what's called a helper's high. We have all heard of a runner's high, right? But a helper's high, because when we give, we produce more endorphins. So not only are we happy, but our immune system gets a boost. People have been known to recover from surgery faster. It is really an amazing gift to give. Other studies, there was one in Britain where they interviewed people that volunteered, and the volunteers, half of them reported that their health improved while they were volunteering. 20% of them reported that they lost weight. And that's better than some diets many of us may have tried. In Florida, there was a study done on people with AIDS who were volunteering to help other people suffering from the disease. And the scientists found that those who volunteered tended to live longer than those who didn't. So, wow. I mean, we're blessed to receive, but we're also blessed to give. Somebody once said, when we receive a gift, it makes us happy for a little while. When we give it, it gives us a lifetime of pleasure. And I think both are true. I think if we're grateful, we remember those times when we were in need and someone helped us or gave to us. But I remember, and this is pretty amazing, years ago when I was married and living in Arizona, my husband and I were out to dinner, and it happened to be prom night. And in Arizona, the boys do not wear tuxes. I grew up on the East Coast, and man, prom, you rented a tux, right? The boys were, most of them dressed in cowboy hats and bowler ties and even cowboy boots. And as we sat there watching this group of young people having dinner before their big event, it was so lovely just to watch them having a good time. And my husband, Jack, who was and still is very generous, called the waitress over and said, "I want to pay for their dinner. Don't let them know who did it." So we finished our dinner and we're trying to quietly exit when one of the boys who had apparently asked, who was it, ran out to greet us, and, "Oh, that was so sweet of you." And I still remember the tickled, wonderful feeling of doing that for those young people. I don't know if they remember, but I sure do. And I'm sure you all have memories like that, where you were generous and gave to someone and they appreciated it. How sweet. Being generous, someone said, in spirit and deed is a great comfort to the soul. I think that's true. I think it's not only our brains hardwired, but it's good for our soul. Now, we all know about the law of giving and receiving. When we do our offertory each week, we talk about, as I give, so am I richly blessed, right? And that is the law of circulation. It takes both givers and receivers, and that's why I say it's important to do both. I don't know about you. Do you ever have somebody offer to pay for your meal and you go, "Oh, no, no, no"? That happened recently. We had house guests, and I won't name names because I didn't ask permission, but someone said, "No, no, no." And I said, I think the best response when someone offers to do that for you is what? Thank you. Yeah, because it gives them the opportunity to give, and it gives that circulation a chance to happen. Circulation doesn't happen without a receiver, so I think we need to be cheerful givers and cheerful receivers, and I see some nods. I think that's true. Yeah. So even Jesus said in Luke 6:38, "Give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." So true. And I think about the joy in giving. I also think about the Scrooge story, Dickens' story about Scrooge. Remember when he was miserly and hanging on to his and watching every penny and not generous to the family? He was miserly and miserable. And then when the light went on because the three ghosts of Christmas visited him, and he realized that he had money, and he gave love, and he gave money, and he gave gifts. And he opened the windows in the movie and yelled out, "What day is it?" He was joyful. It completely changed his outlook. Our founder of Ernest Holmes quoted Emerson because this is another aspect of giving. Ironically, kind of counterintuitively, whatever we need or want, if we give it, we seed for it to come back to us, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? So if we need money, we can't be irresponsible and give more than we have. But if we tithe, for example, if we take 10% of what we are receiving and give it to places we're spiritually fed, we seed for 10 times more to come back to us. That's the way it works. So Holmes, quoting Emerson, said this: "If you want a friend, be a friend. The one who has learned to love all people will find plenty of people who will return that love." Isn't that true? Right? So it's something to think about this week. If there's something you're needing, to give it, to seed it. Now, our little egos, live from a place of fear and scarcity. So according to the ego, if you give, you have less, right? And you better not give too much because there's only a certain set amount that everybody has. And that really is not spiritual truth. The higher truth is that giving and receiving are one and the same thing. They're part of the same circulation. And so while the ego thinks we win when we hang on, the truth is, when we give, we benefit. So in the Course of Miracles, it says this: giving and receiving are identical. So when we give, even when we give something like judgment or guilt to somebody else, what do? We get it back. It is one. We are one. So when we give to someone, we're giving to ourselves. When we give good to someone, we're receiving good. When we give nastiness, which we see plenty of these days, don't we? We get it back. Yeah. Forgiving is really important too. So, this is a quote from the Course in Miracles. "The world believes to possess a thing, it must be kept. But the real truth is, to give is how to recognize you have received. It is proof that what you have is yours." So the Course in Miracles actually says we don't know that we even have something until we give it. If I have kindness in my heart, but I don't give it, I don't really know that I have it. But when I give it, I am deeply reminded that that's the truth of my being. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful little thing. Forgiving is important. Forgiving, right? To let go when we think we've been hurt or harmed from somebody. And forgiving ourselves is also so important. Kathy Green, our board president and practitioner student, is doing a workshop on October 19th. And if you haven't experienced her radical forgiveness workshop, it is incredible, deep work and freeing. So put that on your calendars if that interests you, and I hope it does. In the Course of Miracles, forgiving is the most important spiritual practice we can do. Letting go of judgments, letting go of any kind of resentment. So the other thing I want to say before wrapping up today is, yes, being generous is hardwired. It's part of our anatomy. It raises our immune system. It raises our happiness. It makes us know we're connected. But you know what? We need to be generous not just to other people, but to ourselves. I had the experience this week of doing something I regretted, and I didn't do it intentionally. I sent out an email, and it was a very personal email to someone I had spent time with. It was a very personal email, and somehow I copied a bunch of other people. And you know what happens? Did you ever do that, copy somebody when you didn't mean to? And usually it's harmless. You know, I copy because I have 2 Sherrys in my contacts, and I copy the wrong Sherry, and it's not a big deal. The person answers you and says, oh, I think you sent this to the wrong person, right? But in this case, in my Outlook system, I don't know if any of you have the same thing, I have group emails. So if I type an S in the copy, it automatically populates the Sunday team. Or if I type a 2024, whatever, you know, the board. So this went out, this confidential email, to several people, and I felt awful, just horrible, because I take that whole idea of confidentiality pretty seriously. And so what did I do? I made amends. I apologized, because that's the only thing you can do. I tried to recall it. I wrote to the people that received it and said, please just delete it. You know, I called the person that I had meant the email for, and we talked. And that person was very gracious, thank goodness, and understood. But then I had to forgive myself, right? I didn't mean to do it, but I did it. I could have been more careful. I think that the lesson that I take out of that is, if you're sending out a sensitive email, it might make sense to just pause before you hit send and look and see what you're doing. So I went to my clergy group of friends on Wednesday morning and was sharing what I had done, and they commiserated because they could understand how bad I felt. And 2 of them said this. One said, Kimberly, give yourself some grace. And the other one said, you know what, we're all human. So I had to let go and forgive myself, especially since I had made amends. That was the first important step. So just a reminder for all of us, we are human and we're going to make mistakes, and sometimes they harm people. But, you know, to hang on to it doesn't do anybody any good. The other part of being generous to ourselves is that we live in a generous universe. We live in a universe where the abundance of the infinite invisible is unlimited. And we determine how much we receive. As my Course in Miracles teacher, Aaron Abke, told us this week, if you visualize the unformed substance, the possibility of abundance in the universe, which is infinite, if you envision it as an ocean, we can go on the beach and take a thimble and dip the thimble into the ocean and take that much good. Or we can take a bathtub, right? A huge container. How open we are, how sure we are, how faith-filled we are of how good the universe is and how much we deserve determines what we receive. So part of being generous to ourselves is being open to receiving that good. You know, this morning I was listening to CSL, Reverend David Alexander from the Atlanta Center for Spiritual Living has this 100 days of mindfulness practices for the election, the 2024 election. I'm sure some of you are receiving those each morning. And I put the link, by the way, in this week's newsletter, and I'll keep it in next week's, because it's a wonderful thing to keep us centered when there's a lot of, you know what flying in the air, right? And this morning, there was a poem that the facilitator read that I just loved, and I thought I would share it because it speaks to that generosity to ourselves, that idea of loving ourselves, and that idea of being grateful for all the good we have. It is a poem you may know. It's called Love After Love. It was written by a West Indian St. Lucian poet named Derek Walcott, who won the Nobel Prize for his work, his writing. So Love After Love goes like this. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. Yeah. So let us do that. Let us feast, let us be grateful, and let us be generous and loving to ourselves as well as to others. I'm going to close with one more quote from Maya Angelou. I have found that among its other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver. Let's go into prayer. So what I know is there is this infinite giver, call it God, Spirit, infinite abundance, unseen ways that God, Spirit, life can give to us. We are rich, we are blessed, always, always. And so as we open ourselves to receive, as we open ourselves to recognize the good that flows in, and as we become willing and cheerful givers, sharing our kindness, our financial wealth, sharing a smile, sharing a helpful hand, we are blessed in return, and we start that cycle of giving and receiving. Everyone benefits. We get that helper's high. Who knew? We are hardwired to be helpful and generous to one another. We are hardwired to forgive and let go of judgments. And when we don't, we receive it back. And so especially in this pre-election time of still some animosity flying back and forth from both sides of the aisle, let us be generous in heart. Let our hearts be full, and let us be willing to send a compliment, a kind word, a helping hand. And let us also remember to be generous to ourselves, to be forgiving and gentle with ourselves. Because really we can't love others if we don't love ourselves. I think we see so much evidence to that. So may we be loving, gentle, kind, and generous, knowing that as we do that, we bless not only the recipient, but we bless ourselves. In gratitude to know this, in gratitude to share this with you this morning, I release my word, knowing it's heard, and we say together, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. This is another Michael Stillwater one that many of you know, in the light. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. So right when we feel that and our cup is full, and we feel God's grace and love and know that, it's much easier to give, be generous.
We're going to do this as a round as well. So this half of the room can sing with me, and the other half with Heather when we get to that part. So
We'll start together and then we'll
Yes.
split. And yeah, try to follow one of us when we get there. I am as God created me.
all together.
In the light, in the love, in the glory.
Repeat again.
I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am.
All right, this half with me.
I am as God created me. In the love, in the glory. In the light, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. Now we switch.
In the light, in the love, in the glory. Yeah, nice job.
Very nice.
Time now to, hey, do what we've been talking about, to be a giver, right? A cheerful giver. So let's do our offering. I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward for us. Thank you. Prudence, and let's see, Mary? And if you'll say, first of all, thank you. Thank you to everybody who continues to give generously to this community to keep us afloat and thriving. And thank you to those watching online, too. I know there's a way to give on our website, cslroguevalley.org. We're so glad you all joined us, too. Let's say our giving affirmation together. Graciously, I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself.
Thank you. So I'm going to do what we've been doing quite a bit lately, which is to give you all a chance to share. If there's anything you want to take away from today's message and music, and in part I'd invite anybody, there's a quote from Joan Marcus. She said this, she said, "The thrill of taking lasts a day. The thrill of giving lasts a lifetime." You heard my story about the prom dinners. Maybe some of you have things you're remembering for a lifetime, about a time when you gave and it gave you that helper's high. Or maybe you remember a time when someone was generous to you and what that meant to you. So anything you'd like to share that you'd like to take away and remember from today's experience about the anatomy of generosity. Mary, Corey? Mary, she's going to hand you the mic so our online viewers can hear you too. Thank you.
When our youngest daughter was in high school, she had a friend that had a very, very, very unfortunate home life. And she always came over, and I had a basket of fruit, of oranges and apples and bananas. And our youngest daughter said, "Mama, I know she eats a lot of fruit." And I said, "She obviously needs it." Well, then she finished high school, but she got pregnant. And the father of her child, who they later married and had 3 children together, and the last I knew, they're still together. But she was joining him in California, and she was going by bus from here pretty far in California. I want to say maybe San Diego, and she had a $10 bill. And I said, "Oh, honey, that's not enough. I'm going to give you some money, and I don't want this back right away. Get yourself situated." I really thought, I doubt you'll see it again. Boy, was I ever wrong. In less than a week, she had returned that money to us. So it's just, it was a good time. And our daughter is now 43, and this was when she was in high school. And
You didn't forget.
I'll never, ever forget this.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, in the back, Corey, Prudence, and then Patricia.
Well, this is kind of a funny story. I live at San George Estates, and a young couple had bought a brand new house there. And every Thursday we had donuts and coffee. And I noticed that they ate a lot of donuts and they drank a lot of what do you put in coffee?
Cream?
Half and half. They were drinking that. And I said something to the manager. I said, there's something, and they took what was left home. I said, there's something wrong here. And it turned out they didn't stay very long because they couldn't afford the house. But we all, the people that showed up for donuts, we all put money in for a grocery gift card for $100.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Prudence. And I think Patricia over here. Corey?
I was signing up for a class, and I looked and I went, oh gosh, I'm really glad that she's going to be in that class. That's a good sign for me to be able to share with her. And without even thinking, I just paid for her class.
Thanks, Patricia. And Tracia down here, thank you.
All these wonderful stories of giving, I have one of receiving.
Ah, good.
In the last year of my practitioner studies, 3 people in my life, dear to me, passed away. And we actually, in the last year of practitioner studies, do our own eulogies and plan our own final ceremonies. And so it was a time of really contemplating death and leaving here. And as a gift, a dear friend bought me a ticket and accompanied me to an afterlife conference in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I had the most amazing opportunity to meet with death doulas and doctors and practitioners, people who had such a positive spin on the afterlife and what happens when we leave this place. I met Alua Arthur, who has an amazing TED Talk out there. If you've never heard it, I highly recommend it. I got to spend some time with her and play some games with her, and she's just an amazing human being. And so I was the recipient not just of the gift of being able to attend, but of all the wealth of being present in that opportunity, in that place.
Beautiful,
So,
Tracia. What is the TED Talk person's name again?
Alua Arthur.
Thank you.
And she's remarkable, and she looks every bit the woman she is on that TED Talk. She's in vivid orange, and that's exactly how I met her. This gorgeous woman of color, and she's got on this orange and yellow and all of this jewelry, and she was magnificent. And I thought, I want to play games with you. You're an amazing human being, and she indeed she is.
Thank you. All right, Melanie out front here, and then maybe and then Heather. Yeah. You raised your hand.
I was in the need of a new wheelchair, because this is just one I use for here at church, but I have a power chair. And the co-payment for it was $1,300. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to come up with that much money? So I go, 300 I can do, 1,000 I can't. So I got onto GoFundMe. Within seconds, I got an email from my daughter, who's a nurse in Alaska. Mom, don't say no. I'm sending you $1,000. And it's like, I'm not going to say no. Thank you. That's all I can say is thank you.
Beautiful, Melanie. Heather.
I want to share a little random act of kindness I experienced off the highway recently, especially because I think sometimes the collective we can be so impatient on the road, right? Especially if we don't know someone. And I was a little embarrassed because I got off the highway and I was kind of making wrong turns getting to this coffee shop, and then I didn't find the correct way to go, and this guy was behind me, and I was frustrated with myself, and I just pulled over and motioned for him to go, and I thought, oh wow, he didn't flip me off, but he's really annoyed with me. You know how people can be. And so then I'm behind him, and I order my drink, and they go, oh, the guy in front of you paid for it. And it seems like such a little thing, but I think like when we you see people being so mean to each other that they don't know and impatient on the road. I thought, oh wow, that was so sweet.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, I'm sure we have many more, so take your time this week and have those memories and keep giving. Let's see, we have some announcements. Do we ever? Okay, today after service, Karen Jordan, raise your hand, please. There is a vision board workshop, which I'm going to attend, and Karen is an artist and has brought all the stuff you could possibly need, so please consider doing that at about 12:15 or so after we have something to eat. As always, you're invited to have fellowship and food in the Bosworth Hall afterwards. Men's group meets Monday here at 11 o'clock. Poetry is Spiritual Practice is continuing to meet. I'm going to be teaching a different class, but Karen Jordan will be leading that. That's a free offering at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, followed by Tai Chi at 11:30. My Mystical Path class starts Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 to 6. It's a 7-week class. I have a nice full class, but there's room for more. If you're still interested, you can sign up in there or see me. Soul Connection. Next week, we have a guest speaker. I will be here presiding, but we have a guest speaker named Brian Kurtz, who is an author, and he has written a book called Access the Real You, Touching Your Divinity and Applying Its Wisdom to Your Life. He's doing a workshop after service. It's called Soul Connection at Will. There's a flyer in there with more information about the workshop, so I encourage you to consider attending that. Drumming Circle will not happen next week because of that workshop. Drumming Circle will happen the last Sunday in September, the 29th, with Will. That also happens to be, I realized, our new members class, but we'll meet in the other room and give Drumming Circle this space in here. So prospective new members class. If you're not an official member and you'd like to hear more about what that means, come on the 29th, and we'll have a ceremony for those who do join the following Sunday. There's no commitment necessary to just attend the class. Prayer boxes in the back. Remember, we have a combined prayer box now, so please submit your requests. Our practitioners pray all week, and at the end of the month, all those prayers get sent to Unity Village. So we have a combined, you have double work, double your money for your prayer requests. I'm going to invite our, yes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had talked to you on the phone about giving me 3 minutes at the end of the...
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
well, glad to see you, and please come on up. Let's see, so ministers and practitioners, come on up here, please. They are available after service for what we call a 5-minute miracle. We always say, don't leave here with a heavy heart. They will know the spiritual truth of God's abundance. Remember the thimble? No, we're going to bring an open heart to receive. So thank you, practitioners. And I wanted to read you for a benediction this wonderful quote I discovered from John Wesley, was a Methodist pastor in the 18th century, and he founded the Methodist Church. And he said this, you may have heard it, but I just love it. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the places you can, at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Time for our closing song.
Let's send our love. This is a Karen Drucker song.
It goes love, joy, power.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy